Both sides of Julian Pesina's double life were closing in on his secrets. Pesina was a police officer in Balcones Heights, a small city of 3,000 people near San Antonio. But he also claimed allegiance to the Mexican Mafia, a notorious gang known for extortion and precision killings. Pesina sold drugs for the Texas branch of the Mexican Mafia and paid a weekly tax, or dime, for his tattoo parlor, according to court documents. Beneath his police uniform, his body was covered with gang tattoos. In 2014, federal investigators were probing Pesina's ties to the Texas Mexican Mafia and getting close to making an arrest that could send him to prison for years. But gang members who learned about his police job from Facebook sentenced Pesina to death instead. Jerry Idrago, SID 748,993, DOB November 17, 80. Booked for murder. Jerry Spooks Idrago, a sergeant in the Texas Mexican Mafia, admitted he was responsible for killing Officer Julian Pesina and another man. San Antonio Express News. Jerry Spooks Idrago was ordered to kill him. According to court documents, Idrago, a sergeant in the Texas Mexican Mafia, selected two men to help kill Pesina. One was an aspiring gang member, the other was in bad standing with the Texas Mexican Mafia and hoped to redeem himself with a slaying. On May 4, 2014, Idrago called Pesina, saying he was in a hurry and wanted to pick up the dime outside Pesina's tattoo parlor, Notorious Inc. When Pesina walked up to the car to pay Idrago, the other gang members rushed around the building, wearing masks. One carried a shotgun. The other clutched a pistol. Pesina was shot and killed in the street, though the gunman waited until he had paid his 10% tax before opening fire, according to federal investigators. A Texas police officer was shot to death outside his tattoo shop in May 2014. Julian Pesina was under federal investigation for ties to the Mexican Mafia at the time of his death. WOAI News 4. A Texas police officer was shot to death outside his tattoo shop in May 2014. Julian Pesina was under federal investigation for ties to the Mexican Mafia at the time of his death. A Texas police officer was shot to death outside his tattoo shop in May 2014. WOAI News 4. Video of Pesina's killing was captured on a pole-mounted camera FBI agents had set up to watch his business and build their case, according to the San Antonio Express News. FBI sources told the newspaper they had planned to arrest Pesina within a week when he was shot down in cold blood. Her job was to help victims of identity theft. Instead, she used them to steal from the IRS. On Friday, Idrago pleaded guilty in federal court to one count of conspiracy to participate in a racketeering, influenced, and corrupt organization. As part of the plea, Idrago admitted he was responsible for Pesina's slaying and the death of another man, Texas Mexican Mafia member Billy Padilla, who was killed in 2013 for failing to turn over drug proceeds to the organization, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Texas. At his sentencing in November, Idrago faces life in federal prison. Julian Pesina, a Balcones Heights police officer, was shot and killed late Sunday while off duty in northwest San Antonio. Photo courtesy of the San Antonio Express News, Julian Pesina in his Balcones Heights police uniform. San Antonio Express News. The Mexican Mafia, also known as LAGIM, Spanish for the M, and as Mexicanami, has existed for more than 60 years, according to an Associated Press story on a gang sweep in 2007. The organization was formed by Mexican-American inmates in a Northern California prison in the 1950s as a front against racist attacks, the AP noted. It has since fanned out across the state prison system and to Mexican and U.S. streets. Authorities say the self-proclaimed gang of all gangs has cowed a who's who of the state's deadliest gangs, including Aryan Brotherhood and 18th Street, into paying taxes in their turf. LAGIM hits gangs who refuse the arrangement with a so-called green light, making them a target for retaliation by the gang and its allies. How the Black Guerrilla Family Gang took root in Maryland's prisons. The gang's Texas offshoot gained power in the 1980s, according to court documents. Behind bars, gang members trafficked drugs and banded together for protection. When members were released, they expanded the enterprise and the violence to the streets. Many Texas Mexican Mafia members were from San Antonio, which became the branch headquarters. Members could join only if they were asked by a sponsor, or padrino. To gain membership, inductees had to commit a criminal act, which could include the murder of an enemy. And according to the Mexican Mafia's constitution, cooperation with law enforcement was punishable by death. Pesina's execution-style killing in 2014 was a textbook example of a Mexican Mafia hit, according to Tony Raphael, the pen name of the author of a book about the gang. The smaller weapon is used to pin down or debilitate the target, Raphael told the Washington Post. And then they finish them off with the rifle. Raphael said it's not uncommon to find civil servants among the gang's ranks. One of the organization's strengths, he said, is its ability to coerce people and even other gangs into working to benefit LAGIM. They're very, very good at manipulating people, Raphael said. They've had female corrections officers and manipulated them into literally marrying them. Prior to marrying them, these officers smuggled food and drugs into the jail. They've corrupted social workers to do their bidding for them, and occasionally police officers, too. They'll find a weak spot. They'll befriend you, try to figure out what makes you tick. If you're short of cash, they'll get you cash. If it's drugs, they'll get you drugs. If it's women, they'll get you that, too. They're excellent, excellent manipulators. The gang has only about 300 made members in the United States, Raphael said. But the Mexican mafia's number swells into the thousands when you count those who work with Logim in the hopes of becoming carnales, or brothers, he said. This MS-13 member laughed about a brutal killing. Now he's going to prison for life plus 30 years. In a 2015 Texas gang threat assessment, the state's Department of Safety estimated there were 4,700 Texas Mexican mafia members and associates, organized into clearly defined ranks on a paramilitary model. Itrago, a sergeant, was on one of the lowest rungs, just above a soldier. Senior leaders are able to issue orders to subordinates, according to the assessment, which classifies the Mexican mafia as a Tier 1 gang. These groups pose the greatest gang threat to Texas due to their relationships with Mexican cartels, high levels of transnational criminal activity, level of violence, and overall statewide presence, the assessment said. Sending gang leaders to prison isn't enough to stymie the gang, Raphael said. Once imprisoned, the highest-ranking members relay messages to subordinates outside using cell phones, smuggled notes, and even family visitors. Their spirit of cooperation has been extended to Mexican drug cartels in the past decade, said Raphael, whose book argues that the Mexican mafia could be the most dangerous gang in America. Raphael said that because the Mexican mafia has a stranglehold on the prison systems in California and Texas, street gangs, drug dealers and unaffiliated criminals are intimidated into working with them in and out of prison. They run virtually every street gang in California, he said. Any kid growing up 14, 15, 16 years old knows that if he's going to continue caporing committing crimes, he better make his peace with the mafia well before he ends up in prison. He needs people that respect him, people that will protect him. They tell them, you do what we tell you when you're on the street, we'll take care of you in prison. Read more. He once killed a man in a road rage incident. Now, he has died in one. Her job was to help victims of identity theft.
So this is what happens when you have so many jails. Jails aren't good, man. Anyway, that's it for today.